Hello everyone and welcome to this GreedFall 2 Live. I am JuJu from Spiders and today I'm here with Jehanne Rousseau. Hello Jehanne.
Hello everyone.
Who is the creative director of Spiders.
I am.
How are you doing?
Well, a bit stressed. I'm not used to this kind of exercise. And just a very short reminder, but please, we are French, as you can hear. So don't be too harsh on us with the accent or mistakes that we will eventually do. So yeah.
Yeah,
but we are still also very happy to be there to speak again about GreedFall.
Yes, it's a very exciting night for us because not too long ago there were some big news that dropped during the Nacon Connect. So for those who missed it, there was a new trailer for the game GreedFall 2, which also announced that the game is going to be available in early access this summer 2024. So
yeah, it's big news.
Yes, and that is why we are here today, because we wanted to share more details about all of that.
It was important to explain to you everything, to tell you also a little more, because a trailer is nice, but it's short too. So if we can give you a little more context and more information, and also explain you why we're launching this as an early access. Yeah. So yeah, we're here for that.
It's very new for Spiders to be in early access. But we wanted to talk a bit more about the game, what GreedFall 2 is going to be about, what the game is going to be like, and of course the early access, because we wanted to tell you what you can expect from it and how it will unfold for all of you guys. But before getting into it, let's just watch the trailer once more together, and then we'll be back to the set with Jehanne and myself. See you soon.
God! Nein!
GreedFall 2, si je pouvais le résumer, à un mot, ça serait la découverte. En fait, ce qu'on a souhaité faire, c'était une continuité du premier, mais en apportant une touche d'exploration qui était bien plus prononcée et intensifier un peu cette DA qui était assez, on va dire, singulière, avec ses touches un petit peu rabranesques, etc., avec ce côté aussi siècle d'or. Là où dans le premier opus, on était confiné, on va dire, à une île, là on est en proie à un grand continent qui est le continent Nacon, qui est un vieux continent avec toutes ces grandes nations.
Tout comme De Sardet découvrait un nouvel environnement, là on prend le parti inverse, on va jouer un natif qui découvre le continent. Ça nous permet, comme dans le premier épisode, en fait, de mettre le joueur dans la peau de quelqu'un qui va découvrir un univers.
C'est un monde qui est assez ancien, qui, on va dire, se meurt également. La Malicore sévit, ils sont en proie à une tonne de guerre, on va dire, et de lutte intestine. C'est un continent qui est fatigué et le joueur va être amené à l'explorer. On va retrouver les factions du premier opus ainsi que de nouvelles.
Oui, chaque compagnon appartient, comme dans le premier épisode, à des factions. Forcément, on va avoir des compagnons qui vont peut-être pas nous accompagner tout au long de notre aventure, parce qu'ils vont peut-être pas être d'accord avec le comportement qu'on aura avec certaines sous-factions. Bien entendu, il y aura des romances possibles aussi avec des compagnons. On a changé pas mal d'éléments. Déjà, on a orienté le combat sur un rythme beaucoup plus tactique, parce qu'on a voulu mettre l'emphase sur contrôler une équipe et plus contrôler un personnage suivi de 2 compagnons. Donc on contrôle maintenant, notamment en combat, 4 personnages en même temps. Toute l'aventure va être non linéaire, avec forcément, en fonction de qui on a favorisé, des aboutissements différents et des conclusions différentes qui amèneront à plusieurs fins possibles.
And we are back with a lot of interesting information from these videos. It feels quite nice to be able to have a follow-up to the latest announcements. Finally. Because if I'm not mistaken, the last time we officially spoke of GreedFall 2 was back in 2022 with the first reveal
the first trailer, and it was, it was a very beginning for us of the development. We didn't have much to show. We had plenty of ideas, obviously, but it was still the very beginning. So now we are coming back with some more information, and we're excited to share this with you.
We are very excited. Yes, at the time, the game was still a work in progress, so we didn't have much we could share, but now we do, and that's why we're here. And Jehanne, we must know, first and foremost, why GreedFall 2?
Well, that Spider is developing RPGs since the creation of the company. We've been through different type of RPGs, because now it's a big family. RPGs is a genre that is that huge that it can relate to many different kind of games. But one thing we really love in the team, and I'm also myself one of very dedicated players to this type of game, is the more narrative type of RPGs, the kind is, I would say, the BioWare-like type of RPGs. And we went through with Still Rising to a different kind of gameplay, but we never wanted to abandon, to forget this type of more narrative games. And the world we created for GreedFall 1 was huge. And the way we're working with the team on the concept part, where we develop the world, where we're creating the creatures, the maps, the geography, things, we're really used to develop this kind of words like a tabletop RPG. So everything needs to be thought before. There are some elements of obviously politics. When you've played the one, it makes sense. But I mean, in games, politics, different factions that are fighting each other for different reasons. There are also obviously a long history before the game itself. It's full of things, and it's full of places we're talking about. I don't know, for example, I don't know if you remember, but during the first game, we had one of the companions, Afra, who was speaking a bit about the city she was coming from. She was coming from a city called Olima, one of the important city of the Bridge Alliance. And well, we had obviously created or thought about this city, but it was some lines in a Word document. And well, through going back to this world and going back through GreedFall 2 will allow us to show finally Olima, for example. I mean, it's just obviously one example with the many things that you will be able to discover.
We are not going to spoil.
Sorry.
we are not going to spoil the story. The story, which is kind of ironic, just like Cyril and Sébastien said in the short video. Unlike GreedFall 1, where you play as Desarde, who leaves Syrin to go to Tirfradi, the native people's island, in GreedFall 2, you're going to play as a native?
Yeah, well, you're playing as a native from Tirfradi. Someone from the very proud clan of the Shining Scales, with a new clan that was not visible in the first game, but it's still one of the important clans of Tirfradi. Well, you will be kidnapped and with some of your friends and some people of your village. and you will be brought in this city that you will be locked into a prison, and you will have to escape. And because in fact the idea when we thought about the scenario at the very beginning of the GreedFall 2, the idea was really to find a way to take the players as their character, so to make them discover the worlds that we will show them through, and that they will be able to experience with the same, I would say, discovery feeling than it was in the first one. It was important to have this kind of point of view switch, you know, to play as someone from the island that discovers this dying land, and that discover all the different peoples, because it's not just a block, it's plenty of different, you know, places, people, cultures, architectures. I mean, it's big. Well, it's big, but it's not an open world. You know, it's still, you know, like we were doing before, big regions with plenty of things to discover. We also improved the exploration system. It's one of the many things that we are changing. But, you know, the idea is really to have some very typical huge region with specific biome, with some you know, animals, creatures, cultures, all the things that you can imagine that would be really dedicated to one place, and then another one, and to go through all these travels, discovery with your character and his companions. So you will obviously meet a lot of people that you will, you know, accompany you into this journey. And yeah, that's why it's the idea. And
for sure, in GreedFall 2, the world is going to be bigger. There are going to be very different regions with their own identity, with different creatures, different quests as well. And many changes are going to happen in the game, not only for the exploration, because the game is going to be bigger, the region is going to be bigger. I'm not going to mention the big thing behind you, but there is also going to be changing in different features in the game. The combat will evolve. I think that Sebastian mentioned it during the video, because, you know, we're playing group. It was already the case in the first game, but the companions were not really playable during combat, and this was something that we really want to improve. For different reasons. First, because, you know, the players were asking for it, and we tried to listen. And the other reason is also that, as I was saying before, the inspiration for our game, for this type of games, I mean, the games we like to play also gives this kind of control over the companions. So we make our system, our combat system, evolve towards something that is. So it's not turn-based, but it's, you know, you still have this kind of control over your team. And for this specific reason, having the feedback of the player was something that was super important, because it's something new. We never did this type of controls before. And even if it was coming from, I would say, general feedback from the community, coming from the first game, it's still, you know, we have plenty of ideas, but we really wanted to have some exchange with the community to make sure that the game will be, you know, the best possible, even if we're a small team. But, you know, we want to deliver a game that would satisfy, you know, all the players, that, especially the one that loved, you know, the first game. It's super important. So, that's when the idea of the early access arrived. And speaking of early access, I'm going to jump on what you're saying, because we have a dedicated part for the early access, so don't talk too much. You'll be able to talk about it later. But yeah, the idea of GreedFall 2 is to have a different story, for sure. It's going to be at the center of the game, because, well, GreedFall is still a narrative-driven RPG, so it's very important for us. But for GreedFall 2, as the world is going to be bigger, of course, you can expect some changes, be it for the combat system or for the exploration. but there are many, many other additions that we won't spoil.
We
yet.
talked also a little about, as these many regions and completely different, so it's really completely new content. It's new countries, even some factions that were not, told about in the first game, because only the countries that were present on Tier 3D were, I would say, could exchange with the different factions that were on the island, but not. Obviously, the continent is bigger, so there are plenty of other things to discover there, and I hope that you will enjoy to discover them as much as we enjoyed creating them.
Many things that you can look forward to in GreedFall 2, and I'll take that break to jump into the second part, which is the early access. And before going to the early access, I just want to point out that I see all of your questions in the chat. Thank you for asking them. We'll take some time at the end of the live to answer all of them. So should you have any, wait for that moment. And into the second part of the live, we are going to talk about the early access. As you said, it's something that is important to us because the game will need your feedbacks. And to introduce this part, we're going to start by watching another nice video that the team cooked up for you. And then we'll be back on the set with Jehanne and myself again. Yes. See you very soon.
Pourquoi un early access? Après la sortie de GreedFall 1, on s'est rendu compte qu'il y avait pas mal de joueurs, qu'il y avait pas mal de retours sur certains points spécifiques.
Avant de se lancer en pré-production, on a fait parvenir un sondage par nos plateformes auprès de la communauté pour un petit peu connaître leurs envies et leurs attentes sur un prochain titre Spiders. Ça nous a beaucoup aiguillé dans les décisions qu'on a prises, notamment sur des parties de gameplay, mais sur d'autres aspects aussi plus vastes.
La seule chose maintenant, c'est que c'est des features qui sont quand même un peu nouvelles pour nous. Donc on s'est dit qu'il fallait le temps de c'est pas tout de les développer, il faut aussi pouvoir à un moment donné les soumettre au jugement éclairé des joueurs. GreedFall 2, très clairement, c'est un jeu qui a beaucoup plus d'ambition que le premier. C'est là que l'Early Access ça nous a paru très pertinent. On compte beaucoup sur l'Early Access pour vraiment rassembler tous les feedbacks des joueurs et voir si on part dans la bonne direction. L'Early Access, ça va se faire en plusieurs temps. Dans un premier temps, il y aura d'abord la release de l'Early Access de GreedFall 2. Lors de la release, le joueur aura accès à tout le début de GreedFall 2. Donc il aura accès à de nouveaux environnements inédits. Et on prévoit de sortir différentes updates à intervalles réguliers. Précisons-le d'emblée, il n'y aura pas de compatibilité des saves à chaque update.
C'est la première fois qu'on effectue une Early Access à Spiders et on est très curieux d'avoir un ressenti et de voir un petit peu l'implication et comment on va pouvoir développer en partenariat avec les joueurs.
And we are back again with Jehanne on the set. Welcome back, Jehanne. The video was very nice because Reda introduced a lot of the main aspects of the early access. But for this live, we wanted to show more details about what the early access will entail for you and what kind of content you can expect from the early access and throughout the early access.
Up to the release.
Yes, we have a nice roadmap that we wanted to share with you that you can see right now. And I'm going to let Jehanne explain a bit more about what you can see.
Yeah, so at the moment of the launch of the early access, so during this summer, there will be the beginning of the game. So it's really then I would say a short part, but not that short. I promise you will have things to play to go through. But I mean, compared to the whole game that we are planning to develop, it's still a small part of it. I would say it's probably a quarter of the whole content of the game. There will be the first companions, not just one, but you will meet already a big part of your team, and also you will go through different places, and not just only Tier 3D, which is the island of the beginning of the game, but then also some new places already, some dungeons. So there is already a lot of content since the beginning. You will be able to create your own character. You will be, like it was in the first game, to choose from different skill sets, and so it's already something that is big. There are also a lot of already some regional quests, which is something new, by the way. I'm not sure that we talked about that before, but. To this exploration system, we really want to add a little more content, also just to give more life to the environment. So there are plenty of some small things. It's not. We try to bring, through this small quest, to bring some more lore about the environment, but also some. This small quest gives some other way to solve also the main quest. So you're not obliged to do them, obviously, but it's giving you more cues or more information or leverage also on some characters. So it's another way to discover. I would love to have again, please, thank you. So because
she's talking to the tech team.
I'm really sorry. But yeah, having the early access roadmap, because so this will be released during this summer, and then we really are planning to have some very regular, new release where we will add each one of them. We had some more content, so more new companions that will, be able to join the team a little later. Also, more regions. So more regions means more quests, more characters to discover, more creatures to fight, more, more global.
Just more. Just more.
But also new skill sets. Because some skill sets are also related to some places or characters that will be able to, to teach you these new skills. Also some new talents. So you will really have more and more elements during the whole period of the early access, and also some, I would say more technical things that will arrive during also, and obviously. All the feedbacks we will try to take all your feedbacks to make sure that everything that can be done, and that will make sense, obviously, with the DNA of GreedFall. It won't, there won't be naval battles, for example. I know that we've got these, beautiful ships in the game, but it's not this type of game. We still want to stay on the RPG side, but. All the feedbacks on the skill sets, for example, I don't know, type of combat, narrative feedback, I don't know, story things. We will try to do our best to listen to you and to make sure that you love what you're playing. So obviously, if you're not the type of player who wants and who likes to play early access, I completely understand, and please wait for the final release. But if you like to be part of it, if you want to give feedbacks that will change also the development. In fact, if you want to be part of the team,
yes, the feedbacks that we are very eager to hear about, because it will greatly help us to balance the game. Also, well, as Jehanne said, we will not implement anything and everything, but of course, as we said just before, there are going to be many changes in the game. We are going to change how you can battle with your companion. We are going to change how you can explore the regions. The regions are going to be bigger with many more, secondary quests as well as local quests. So this is something that we are very eager to hear from you, because, well, it will help us.
Yeah, we tried a lot of things, and we're also excited to share it with you, because it's a bit like for us it's a bit overwhelming. Also, we've worked, had plenty of ideas, tried to put all the things that we thought were interesting. There are also some things that, For example, we decided to not release the craft system since at the beginning of the early access, because it's something that we've done through the previous games. Obviously, it will stay. It will be in the final release, but it's something that we need maybe a little less feedback. A little less feedback than on other points that are really new. So some talents were not existing in the previous game. I don't want to say too much for now, but
the game is going to reveal itself bits by bits. And then, of course, we're going to keep you updated. We'll communicate a lot about what's to come and what kind of feedbacks we'll take, what kind of new things we'll implement along the way, of course. But Jehanne, I see some question maybe we could answer because someone asked if the early access is going to be available on consoles, and that is something that we want to make clear.
Yeah,
we want to make it clear. The early access.
The early access will be only on Steam.
Yeah.
And but don't worry if you're a console player. Well, don't worry if you really wanted to be part of the early access. I'm afraid that the only solution is to play on Steam. But obviously, the game will be released on consoles. When it will be done. but for now, it was a bit complicated to do an early access and to be able to react as fast as the PC and especially Steam allows us to.
And we didn't mention all the features we had in mind for the early access or for the full game because, well, we'd have to take longer than just a live to talk about it. But I see...
It's like, we've got that, check.
But for those who were asking the question about potentially meeting previous characters or regions of GreedFall 1, and if the game is going to follow up on the story of GreedFall 1, well, no.
Well, it's not... Yeah, it's not a sequel. And it's not even really a prequel. It's like it's another story in the same world. So you will meet some common characters. You will hear from some event taking place in the first game. But the stories are not, at the same moment and in the same places and everything.
It's kind of a parallel story.
Yeah, exactly. But it's true that some, Mev, for example, is a common character. So some characters will be there. And we are also thinking about, some close character of the player to come back for very, very short, cameo or something. But they're not at the heart of the story. They're not, they're more like, cameo would be probably.
Yeah, it's going to be a completely new story. Obviously, we will evolve in the same universe. So you will, we start in Tirfadi with the main character. But yes, overall, it's a brand new story. Don't expect to see, anyone. And I want to add that in the first GreedFall, the story has an ending.
Yeah,
actually.
and an ending that could be a kind of, real ending. So it was a bit difficult to take from that point and to bring you into a place that would be interesting. When you're, I don't want to spoil the first game for the player that are, still playing it, but there are some decisions that can lead you to a point where obviously continuing playing that character wouldn't make sense at all. So to avoid the frustration, because it's one of the real choices that can be done, and we didn't want that choice to to be forgotten or to be it's really yours. That's why also we created this other story, and it's good because I've got plenty of stories to tell into the world of GreedFall. It's okay. And don't worry, you will find back some common things. It's not, it's still the same world. It's just, new characters that you will be able to bring toward, I hope, an interesting journey, and with new companions that are, I hope, also has cute, interesting, funny, whatever that the companions from the one were, and new teams that you'll be able to create. Plenty of things to discover, really.
Yeah. And don't worry, we hear you. I can see some comments already about maybe a photo mode in the game.
Yes,
we know
this is
it's something.
One of the things that we're planning for. One of the step, I would say, milestone during the early access. But it won't be at the very beginning of the early access. It's something that we're keeping for a little later. But yeah, we know. And it's it's very funny because every game we've developed till there, the screenshots made by the players, the photos, the virtual photographs they're doing are always stunning. And I'm always like, but how do they do that? There is no photo model already existing, and there's already managed to do something incredible. So I hope and I guess that with a dedicated tool they will manage to do something even better. But it's obviously we know that it's now something that is needed into a game.
Yes. I don't think there's any more question about that. Some question about the final release date. Well, there's none at the moment because
let's do it. Let's go through it.
It's fair to say that we will see where the wind takes us. But of course, we're going to take the time to not only implement the content that we would like to see implemented, but also polish the game. We want the game to be ready before being released.
The idea of this early access is really to make sure that we are working with you. And so to do that, we need a little time to make sure that we can, build that thing together. Yeah. And we don't want it to obviously to last too long. Because I know it's going to also be frustrating, but for now it's better just to say let's take the time to work together.
Yeah. And someone is asking, but I think it's a very maybe we can answer. Is the new protagonist gonna open the door just like Desorde? Can you tell us, Jehanne?
For now, I'm afraid yes. He's still opening the door, like wow.
So something to look forward to in GreedFall 2.
Last time it's still using that one. Maybe we should think into improving the thing, but it's also funny. But it's just my own opinion.
Yeah, it's funny. Don't worry. But yes, so to sum it up a little bit about all you said, there are many things that we want to implement in the game. Of course, during the early access, you won't be able to play the whole game. This is not the purpose. We will actually,
we'll go probably from 1/4 of the content to 1/3 or something at the end of the early, from the beginning of the early access to the end. And so, even the day of the release, you will have much more content to discover and still plenty of hours to play of the game. I hope so, at least. So it's it's a way for us to make sure that we're doing the best game we could do, and also to make sure that the decision we've made were the right one, that that we're on the right path, and that we're on the right path with you.
Yes, and of course we will keep you updated. And on that note, I can suggest already for you to join our social and community platform. They are out there. You can join them. You'll find the links in the bio of this channel. So don't hesitate to join the discussion.
From now to this summer, we'll communicate and show you more and more, and as much as we can, and stay in touch.
Can we, I see a couple more questions. Can we expect a similar price like the previous game?
To be honest, I can't remember the price of the first game. But the idea, at least, one thing is certain, is the price during the early access will be a little less than the one as a release. But if it's pricing, it's better to wait from.
We'll make a specific announcement for that
with the publisher, mostly because it's their part.
But the idea is that during the early access, the price is going to be lower than during the official launch of the game. And for a more fun question, it's about the romance options. You mentioned that there are going to be more companions than we had in
and so
GreedFall
more
1.
romance options too.
Yes. Can we tell how many?
Should we tell how many?
But there are more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's better to give a little, and also I'm a bit afraid of spoiling some information that will come later, but yeah, you will
You'll be able to meet some of
options.
them during the first, the D-Day of the early access. The first content of the early access, you'll be able to meet some of the companions.
Yeah, the romance won't be completely unlockable because, you know, it will be the beginning of the story, so, you know, you will need to meet them, to take the time to know them a little before, you know, jumping into their arms. But, you know, it will be...
Yes, but you guys will be able to find out all about that during the early access and by playing the game. We are not going to spoil much about that. We can just say that there are going to be more options for you, so you can look forward to it. And onto the question of is the progress you make during the early access be transfer over to the full game? The answer is no, it won't.
Yeah, that's why Rita was saying when he was in the video, it's like, alas, we can't keep the save games from each big milestone. Obviously, the patch is something apart from it, but each of the huge release will do during the early access, and obviously the final release it will be the same. We can't have compatibility with the save games because there will be all this content added, and to make sure that it's working and not breaking everything, we can't keep the. So I'm sorry, I know that it's a pity, but that's also why we are always, keeping some more new things to do even at the beginning of the game. So during the early access, we'll also had some more content, not only at the end of the playthrough, but also at the beginning, and we will give you also some other way of playing with some new skills and things. So. I hope you won't feel bored, and that this new way of playing will give you some,
Yeah. And for those of you asking for a gameplay reveal, we won't talk about it now, but we do have some announcements for later. The game is going to release in summer 2024, so expect for us to talk a bit more at a later date. About the gameplay, about maybe the story, spoil some elements of the game, but the goal of this live is to, take the time to discuss with you a little bit about this new announcement.
Yeah, it's like a first contact after a month of of silence, and it was important for us to make sure that we're still here, we're still working on the game, and now we need you, and that's the conclusion I would say on. The idea behind it.
And I see another pretty
sure.
funny question.
Sorry.
Someone mentioned that Spiders haven't done a lot of sequels. Was there any reason to give one to GreedFall specifically? Which is funny because I know that for the Mars, there was actually a follow-up to Mars Warlog with the Technomancer. So
it's true that we've not done that so much. We always, I shouldn't say we this time. I'm always willing to go back to the previous world I created. I've got always plenty of other stories to tell, but it was easier in GreedFall because there was really this communication with the community, so with you, and the team was also really on board with that. And GreedFall was for us such, I would say, kind of change into our way of working also. So. Going back to GreedFall 2 was something that, with GreedFall 2 was something that was more logical and more easy probably than on the previous games.
Yeah.
But I'm always nostalgic of some other universes. So maybe one day, I don't know.
And someone said that the linkage between the two GreedFall games will be similar to that between Mars Warlog and the Technomancer. It's kind of similar in the sense that the story happens in a kind of parallel way.
It's a bit the same idea. Yeah, exactly. Well, except that Mars Warlocks was a really short story, kind of sneak peek into the universe that we developed more into Technomancer. I would say the difference between both games is not as huge between GreedFall 1 and GreedFall 2, but it's a little the same idea with two stories in parallel with some characters that you will be able to meet from one game to the other. But it's I think it's a good parallel. Yeah.
And well, I also see a lot of questions, specific questions about the skills, the weapons, and so on. We have something in store for all of that, but it's going to be later and not addressed in this live, unfortunately. But yes, we do have some announcements lined up for later. So yeah.
I think that one thing we can say is that you will find back something that were already existing in the first game, obviously. Once again, it's still the same world. But there are also some new things to discover and new things that the player will be able to do and use through his journey that was not specifically possible in the first game, or you could see them, but you couldn't use them. This time you will be able to. But yeah, it's for now we can't say much.
Yeah. And that goes also for the question about specific portion of the lore. If we're gonna hear about Teofradi's religion and such, well, we don't want to spoil anything about the story. This is something that you guys need to discover on your own. But for sure, you are going to learn more about the faction. As Jehanne said before, the world is going to be bigger. We are going to be able to navigate in these new regions, in the new capitals of each faction. So many things to learn, many quests also around all of that. And yeah, you'll find out about that during the early access or maybe later. And we are slowly reaching the end of the live. I don't think there's any more question or something that we can answer to, at least. Thank you, Jehanne, for all your answers and
thank you, JuJu, and thank you, everyone. Really, once again, we may look a bit tired and we're a bit, stressed also because it's like jumping back into the pool. But we're here, and we really, really want to, to go through this journey with you.
Yeah. And for now, what you can do is follow us on our social media, join our Discord server. All the links are below in the bio of this channel. Yes, and we are eager to hear from you. Don't hesitate. And all I have to say for now, it's let's embark together on this new exciting GreedFall 2 journey. Stay tuned, stay connected, and well, see you next time.
See you.
God! No!